Hello and welcome to this video. On this video I'm going to be replacing this plastic double T fitting that goes to the heater lines on my 1995 W140 Mercedes. Some of the W140s have a metal version of this. If that's the case, you don't have to worry about this. But the ones that have the plastic version like this, they tend to snap off where the pipes go in. And so about every 5 years or so you're going to want to replace it. So I'm going to show you where it's located on the firewall. And so I've marked it with some white marker and I'll put some light there and I'll show you here in just a second. My version of the Mercedes is a 1995 S320. So I have a 6-cylinder inline straight engine, so I can actually get to this component without having to pull the engine out. So you see where I put a white mark behind it and the component goes in there. So all I have to do is loosen the 4 hose clamps that hold the pipes in place, or the hoses in place, pull them loose. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and drain the radiator, and I'll show you that here in just one moment. Okay, there's a drain petcock on the radiator on the driver's side towards the front of the car. Really hard to get into. It's underneath the white bumper. Even if you have it on a lift, it's hard to get to. And if you were to open it up, it's going to drop radiator fluid all over the place. So if you look at the back of the radiator, there's a hose that actually comes out at the bottom. And that's where I'm going to disconnect the hose and I'm going to drain the fluid from that location. And it's just a lot easier to do. I've read that on a lot of forums. That's the way most people do it. So I'll get the radiator fluid drained into a suitable drain container, and then I'll put it into recycle buckets. And then what I'm going to do is show you how I'm going to take the other part out. I've taken the old assembly out and I'm ready to install the new one. And before we get to that, I want to talk a little bit about draining the radiator, how you get to it. To get to the bottom of the radiator, you need to take the splash guard off. Now in my case, mine was missing some hardware. The normal hardware looks like this. It's black with a built-in washer. It's a self-tapping screw. I had to go get a substitute, some stainless steel hardware at the hardware store because these are about 50 bucks for 10 of these and the 10 of the nuts that they go with. And somebody had stripped several of them out and left a lot of the hardware off. So what I've done is gone to a slightly larger shaft size. Now, what I wanted to mention was there's 10 screws total, 3 on the ends, and you have to go inside the fender well to get to them, or actually you can get to them from underneath. There's 2 here, 1 here and 1 on the other side, and then 2 in the very front, 1 here and 1 on the other side. When you put this splash guard back on, you have to do these first because they're on a spring piece that you have to get it lined up by moving the splash guard in and out, and then you'll put the screws in, and then you can attach all the rest of them. It's kind of a difficult task. Really should have been super easy, but whoever designed some of these things for Mercedes, well, I won't say anything more. So before, now I'm gonna show you the old and new part. Here's the part I took off. It looks to me like it had been replaced recently, so it really didn't need to be replaced, but I didn't know that. So here's the new part I have, made in Europe, and I dated it with 08-17. It's August 2017. So that way I'll know, like in 5 years from now, when to replace it. So installation is just like taking it off. You take loose the 4 hose clamps. You're going to put these bottom tubes on first, slide the hose clamps back in, put the top tubes on, put the hose clamps on, snug them up. You don't have to super tighten them because this is just plastic and you'll end up breaking it. So I'm going to get that reinstalled. And also I'm going to talk a little bit about antifreeze. This is the color of the material that came out. It's sort of a honey color. I've heard that older Mercedes antifreeze was honey colored. The new antifreeze for these old style engines is red. Mercedes now has 2 colors, red and blue. So this is the red one right here. I got a gallon of that and 3 gallons of distilled water. I'm just going to do a 50-50 mix, but I got some distilled water extra in case I have to go back to Mercedes and get another gallon of antifreeze. So I'm just going to reinstall everything. Splash panel just gets snugged up, not super tight. These strip out real easy. And that's really all there is. So this is a proactive maintenance thing because apparently these break all the time. And I don't want to be going down the highway and have it break. And then it leads to a major engine failure. So thank you for watching this video.